Oke, selamat sore semuanya teman-teman. Oke, di sesi yang kali ini bersama Andi, kita akan ngobrolin beberapa hal, utamanya tentang produk audio, salah satunya yang mungkin jadi pertanyaan beberapa orang ya. Utamanya kita akan bahas dongle DAC, maybe ya. Andi akan show beberapa slides, tapi kita akan bahas kayak diskusi nyantai aja. Jadi kalau mau ada pertanyaan, ngobrol-ngobrol disampaikan via bahasa Indonesia juga nggak masalah. Cuma nanti kita talk show-nya akan menggunakan bahasa Inggris. Dengan bahasa Inggris gue yang juga cukup terbatas, jadi hopefully you guys understand lah.
Selamat sore everyone. Okay, even though I can understand bahasa Indonesia, unfortunately I am terrible with bahasa Indonesia when I am the one who's speaking. So you can ask question in bahasa Indonesia, I can understand it, but my reply will be in English. Everyone okay?
Okay, it's fine.
Okay, what should we talk about first?
All right.
I have several frequently asked questions through my DMs about dongle DAC, but maybe you need to start with something.
The best part is that they just simply told me that sit here, talk something about audio.
No briefs.
I don't have anything planned, all right? So I was been thinking portable audio. Okay. All right, let me just perhaps throw this back to the audience. I guess every one of you portable audio user, right? Yeah. And that's why you are here, because when we talk about audio, there are just so many audio. Anything from speakers, hi-fi, you name it. But we are here today because we talk about portable audio, and I'm also a portable audio guy, obviously, and Fernanda as well. Okay, so let me just put it this way. I think portable audio has become a huge thing in many of us in our life, for the simple reason that we want to bring our music with us easily, anywhere, anytime. Correct? Yeah. Okay. So let me just ask you, currently, what is your go-to item that you carry with you every day? For example,
Portable DAC.
portable DAC. Is it a dongle or Bluetooth or what? Can you show the audience?
Snow ski.
Snow screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about you?
Apple dongle.
Apple dongle. Okay. Which is very popular since forever. How about you?
DSP cable.
What's that again?
DSP cable.
DSP cable.
Oh, DSP cable. Okay.
Type C.
Headphone amplifier.
iPhone amplifier.
Headphone amplifier.
Headphone amplifier. So meaning that you are not using DAC, you're just using amplifier only? Okay. So I think you get an idea. And I guess I have been known throughout the last few years for being the guy who's crazy about dongles. Alright, so for the simple reason that I think many of us here agree that when COVID started, so we have nothing else to do, so most of us spend our time doing audio stuff, and pretty much the same thing for me. That's how I get into this thing. And the reason that I love dongle is that because it's just so very versatile. Okay, so let me just show you something. When we talk about portable audio, many years back, I started portable audio literally very, very long time ago. So I think this might be interesting to you if you can relate to this. Let me see. All right. Hold on. Let me just open this. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just ask you this.
Oh, this time.
Okay.
I like that.
Fill screen. Yep. All right. So when you look at it, any of you here recognize what is that?
Yes. Feel X1. iPod Classic.
And what's underneath the iPod? Most importantly,
Amplifier.
amplifier. Okay. Right. Let me just make it easy for you. This is something which I carry literally in my pocket. This was in 2006. This is actually an electrostatic portable. This is actual electrostatic, not EST kind of thing. This thing runs on 530 volt of power. I repeat, 530 volt. This is what I used to do before dongle era. okay? Because I just want my music to be, and the weight is half a kilo. Okay?
How do you
But,
carry it?
I have a big pocket at the time. And this is what's inside.
Holy
That's how crazy I was, because the whole thing was actually, I modified myself. That's how crazy I was. Okay? And it doesn't end there. This is my second unit. Okay? And this is how I started. Probably some of you might remember a Zen player from Creative. Okay? And attached to a PA2V2 amplifier. And with Alessandro headphone, which I carry around like a madman, because this thing leaks sound, everybody can hear to my music. And the most interesting thing, this is a Microsoft player. Okay. CD as well, I carry CD with me all around. And this is my first high-end, true high-end device. This is actually iPod Generation 3, but it's not a normal iPod, it's a red wine audio iPod which have been modified. This thing serves only as a line out. You cannot listen directly to it. So you have to be fed the reassembled audio. And this is considered as small at the time. Okay. And I go even more extreme. So this one.
Double M.
By the way, this is 1 kilo.
Really? 1 kilo. So very really, sir.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to carry in my pocket. Obviously, I have to build a bag. So let me just explain. The top one there is the DAC. So last time, year 2006, you cannot buy a dongle. You cannot even buy something like, any small DAC or anything. It doesn't exist. But if you want something like this, what you can do, AliExpress, you buy a DAC board, and you will solder, you build it yourself. You attach battery to it, DIY. Right? And the second one is, of course, I think amplifier, which is a Triad Audio Lisa 3. Some of you might remember it. It's a very boutique unit which costs $1,000 at that time. And this is the top one is iRiver Transport. This thing runs on optical. This is the most advanced setup. All that in order to drive Etimotic ER4. Alright. So why am I showing you all this? I'm just saying that we are very lucky now. Very lucky because you only have to carry something like this. Okay. This is, by the way, my new favorite dongle, which is Time Ear BTE9. I have replaced many things with this because not only it gives me portability, I have actually gone away from cable, no longer using USB cable, because this LDAC protocol is extremely good. It is also very cheap, and I can guarantee you that this thing sounds much better than whatever giant that I carry. Okay? So just take a moment to appreciate that for the fact that the cost of the item which I carry with me last time was close to $2,000, and yet this $80 sounds better. Yep. So you guys are lucky, right? We are lucky to be alive in this kind of period of time. You can get something cheap, and we have to be thankful that the so-called Chi-Fi development within the last 3 years has been so amazing that we get. This is just one of the many. Okay, this is not the only one. We have so many. I think anybody who subscribes to my channel will know that there are just so many things to choose from. But the main point is that it gets smaller and smaller. I even switched to this now. TWS.
Soundbits H3?
H3.
H3, yeah?
Yes. aptX lossless. This is the future, man.
Yeah.
Because why? I was so surprised that this thing was so good that I actually carry it with me. And I can guarantee you I have tons and tons of options at home. But at the end of the day, I always find myself grabbing this. Okay? For the fact that I can just simply run, pasang, jalan, enjoy my music. Okay? So that's how it is. So the thing is that you would also notice that I'm no longer that much active in Dongle Madness because I have released another video making an announcement that somewhere within the period of time last year, the quality has improved so much that it is extremely difficult for reviewers like me to find the differences. You cannot simply say that, okay, dongle A and dongle B, okay, A is better than B, but then what is the category of what makes them better? Is it because of that technicality resolution? Resolution is similar because at the end of the day, when we talk about something like that, it is still governed by what you use, your IEM, not your source. The source will always target for one thing. You will always try to be neutral. You will always try to be transparent and offer as much, technical aspect to it, like dynamics, extension, and everything. But the final result is that the chain of audio will always end with your listening device. So my advice is that if you come to me asking for a recommendation, always go for IEM first or headphone first. Then only you think about your dongle. Okay, how to drive it properly, because we are talking about synergy now. That's how it is. And the best part is that you can do that very easily, even with your own phone, with your, let's say, your IEMs, even $50 already get you to the point of, let's say, which is much better than it was back during my time. So how about you, Fernanda? How about yourself? What kind of experience?
I have never experienced what you have in the process. Yes,
I'm crazy.
But I think what I learned the most that the specs in terms of chips, we have chips like ESS Saber, AKM, and Cirrus Logic. They have been using the same chips all over different brands and types of DACs, but it still sound different, right? So what do you think makes it different?
Okay, let me just put it this way. Okay, if I am a manufacturer, a brand, let's say call it NDAV DAC, okay, whatever it's, or whatever name I want to put, and I have money. Okay, what I would do is that then I say I want to build a DAC. Okay, the easiest route for me is that to go for certain manufacturer, because I know if I were to implement that DAC, right, solder it into the motherboard without doing anything, you can actually do that because they came from factory without any kind of need to adjust, except of course you play with like the clock and also the amplification. But assuming that you want to do something like, for example, Jackie, okay? Jackie can sell it very cheap because they just simply take from factory, put solder in, sell it to you. Okay? They don't care. Okay? They don't care. Then, in that kind of scenario, I would always prefer AKM, for the fact that AKM have a house sound which I consider as not too clinical, because ESS Saber tend to be kind of a bit too detailed, a bit too sharp for some of my IEM, some of my headphone. Or let's say now I actually prefer Cirrus Logic, because Cirrus Logic offer the kind of sound which is somewhere between AKM and ESS. So yes, it is true, there are certain character in that if you are not assuming that your manufacturer does not change it, you just plug it in and then let it run as it is. But there will be some differences, major differences on some of the major tuners, because most importantly is that once you receive the chip, they spend time to tune it. The tuning comes in, and how do they tune it? They play with the clock. They play with the, let's say, those DSP kind of digital stage. And most importantly, those experience very good DAC or dongle, they play with amplification. Yeah. So they have extra op amps to tune the sound. So that is why what you're getting is that I have the same chip here, A and B. How come they sound different? Because this thing has been tuned differently. So this affects two things: timbre, tonality, okay, and also note weight, because amplification will control that part. So that is why, if you check back for the past few years, the one that are really successful are people like iPaso, or even Onyx with Alpha, or even something like some other manufacturer, because they spend time, especially Kain, or even Hybe, right? They spend time to actually tune this according to their own house sound. So even if they give you give, let's say, Hybe ESS Saber, it will not sound like your typical ESS Saber, because I can even tell you the warmest sounding dongle until today, which I have tried, is actually ESS Saber 9038, which is to me like wow. And that is from EPZ, TP30, the gold color. Okay? That is like, if nobody were to tell me, I would tell them, oh, this is perhaps Super Brown chip, because it sounds more like brown chip. It's so warm, so smooth.
Nice. I find.
Yeah, I find kind of sound. But when you go inside, wow, 9038, wow, man, they did something like because you can have another ES9038 from Shangling at that point of time, which sounds so bright. Exact opposite. So that's how they differ. And I also have some IKM, which sounded more like ESS Saber rather than IKM. So go figure.
Yeah. So how do we figure it out? Because brands never told us about how they tune it or the specs like clocking. Sometimes they don't put it.
All right. So most manufacturer they will only reveal that they just have this certain FPGA and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But you will notice that dongle and DAC does not have any kind of, let's say, frequency graph. Okay.
Yeah.
Because like I mentioned earlier, they always aim for something which is flat. Okay. There's no point showing a flat graph. But what actually in the case of reviewers like me, okay, that is why you have go back to the listening equipment that you have, like I mentioned earlier. Go back to your IEM. Do not listen to the DAC as a DAC. You cannot listen to them without your listening device, correct?
Yeah.
It all depends on what you use. So that is why people like me, we have a reference IEM. And in my case, I used to use Etimotic ER series as my reference because Etimotic is the most uncolored. You guys know what uncolored means, right? Uncolored means that literally no EQ. It's diffuse field neutral is totally dead flat. So when you listen using something like or even Kinera Idun Golden, it is also super flat. You use this kind of device, listening to the DAC, what you are hearing is direct from the DAC, without any kind of influencing from the listening device. But 99% of IEMs nowadays are always colored, meaning that it is tuned, boosted one way or another over the mid-range, the bass, especially the lower frequency, because everybody loves bass, right? I love bass now. Yeah, long live bass. Mid-bass. Mid-bass. Not Harman bass. Sorry, Harman bass. Okay, so that's why you use, but in my case, I only use flat sounding IM to actually check the tuning. If there's any kind of coloration in the DAC, I will immediately hear because I use Etimotic, which is very flat, or even Sennheiser HD600.
Yeah.
You tell you whether this thing is already colored or not colored. So that's basically how we, determine whether this thing is like this.
Yeah. So how we can actually know the characteristic of the DAC is
Yes.
using the reference IEMs or headphones.
Yep, correct.
And talking about the HD600, do you think like dongle DACs right now can drive HD600 properly?
There's a mixed answer to this because there's a certain stage. I was pretty certain sometime up until middle of last year that many dongle can actually run HD600 properly for as long as you run on 4.4 mm balance.
Yeah.
And the dongle itself capable of pushing at least 250 milliwatt of power per channel at 32 ohm. Okay, and you have to remember HD600 is 300 ohm. So I am hearing something like Onyx Alpha can do that. Ibaso DC07 Pro, DC04 Pro. There's a lot, but after doing a bit of comparison, especially this year, that I started to push for higher territory of power up to let's say 7,000 milliwatt. Then wow. There are some differences. The kind of differences is literally like, wow, why am I not hearing this before? Because all the while I've been using my HD600 running up to maximum perhaps 1,000 milliwatt, okay, from something like FIO Q15, okay, or even surprisingly, Hype FC6 also can run HD600. But what I am hearing is actually just probably at best 70%. I am not hearing 100% yet. Sorry to say that if you have HD600, in order to hear 100% from it, you need to push all the way to at least 1,005 milliwatt per channel.
For example, with what kind of DAC amp do you recommend?
Okay, I would say that minimum. The utmost recommendation for me would be, of course, Aune N7, which pushes 6,005. Okay, but that one is like an extreme setup. Another one would be, let's say, at least iBasso DX340, or there is a dongle which I consider as crazily powerful, which is this Hartfield R1. I don't know exactly what's the. It's a hardcore kind of very raw R2R deck.
Oh,
But that thing is stupidly powerful. It's stupidly powerful that it can actually run HD600 up to, let's say, 90%. But for portable usage, you have to go for that. Surprisingly, FIO M21 in
M21.
super high gain mode, 1000 milliwatt, sounds amazing with HD600. So I would even declare that if you have something like HD600, I would no longer recommend dongle for it, because I have heard how it performs with
desktop
bigger
deck.
desktop, or even something like this, which I carry with me. This is my reference lab, by the way. IBRN.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would even say that I would not drive my HD600 from here, because this thing offers only 710 milliwatt of power, not even 1000. And even I have iBasso DX340 at home, which pushes 1000 over me. It is slightly better than this, but once I start pushing like all the way to 3000, like my Burson Audio Playback 2, or even let's say my Aune N7, then I will say, oh, there are differences.
What kind of differences you feel very different from using
Okay.
dongle with HD600? And
That's an interesting question. People who are familiar with HD600 would know that soundstage on HD600 is like terrible, right? It's like, whoa, this thing is open back, but it's like very narrow. Right? But once you start pushing on the right amplifier, especially Class A amplifier or even certain tube amplifier, up to, let's say, at a mark of 2000 milliwatt, then you start, whoa, suddenly you have soundstage. Wait until you listen, you push it with 6005 milliwatt, then everything become like, wow, sense of space. And also, the transient speed.
Yeah.
What I'm saying here is that it sounds the same, but you can feel that it's more effortless now, especially when you listen to something which is very complex. For example, you listen to orchestra music, multiple violin, okay, with very complex composition. Or if you're like me, you listen to metal music, which is very fast at around 280 BPS. So this kind of power will show you how effortless the sound, the layering and the separation sounds. Wow, even low fidelity music sounds good because the layering and separation is very clean. Yeah. It not to say that it is not clean before, but until you get to that stage, then you realize, oh, it sounded a bit more airy, a bit more open, it sounded more effortless. But the sound remains the same. It's just that you get that sensation.
You can hear the separation between each layering of the guitars and different kind of violins using the track.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think will be the next trend of dongle DACs?
Okay.
Or what do you want to see in the upcoming?
It is actually happening now.
Yeah.
Right. While I was in Shenzhen last month, for the first time that I'm seeing a dongle which offer 1000 milliwatt of power. Okay. From Fang Sound. 1000 milliwatt, no joke. I have tried that dongle. I was like, wow, they actually managed to push it. And Fang Sound is basically the same family like Hartfield R1. So they know how to make power. So we just what I'm saying is that dongle have come to a point that pretty much any dongle that you buy right now, I can guarantee you will be amazing. Especially if you are just running IEM. The main difference that you're gonna hear is something like the tonality, the timbre, or the richness of the texture, the definition, or the synergy to different kind of IEM. So it's like you have to play around with it to actually identify different kind of sound signature. Some will react very well with this IEM, some will react very well with hybrid, some will react very well with magnetic planar, but it's not always the same. It is like inconsistent. It can vary from one to another.
The answer to the next trend of the dongle.
The next trend? Okay.
Do you think what should we add to dongle DACs? I've seen some things like Kayin RU9.
Yeah.
They have a MagSafe. I think it's very cool to use.
Yes.
So we don't need to wrap around our phones anymore with then they should sound
Okay, if I were to be honest, what I would like to see more in dongle coming soon is that to have a bit more of analog volume adjustment.
analog volume
Okay.
adjustment.
Meaning that it is not digital, it is analog. We already have that actually with one very special dongle, which was my champion for 2021, I think 2022. Centrance Deckpot HD.
Okay.
Until today, that is still one of my favorite. The only reason that I'm not carrying it around because if you put into your pocket, you're gonna burn your skin because it's a Class A amplifier and it drains the battery in 4 hours.
Oh,
Okay, that's how powerful it is. That's the only reason that. But the thing that I love about Central Technology is that it has that radio kind of volume adjustment, which is analog. And analog volume adjustment is better to me because it does not follow step. If you know what I'm saying is that if you're listening to highly sensitive IM, especially very sensitive, like stupidly low, 5 ohm, 7 ohm that you find nowadays, you adjust volume from one level to another, suddenly, fuck man, this is too high. No, there's no middle ground for you to adjust. Okay, so that's why if you need to go for digital volume adjustment, to me the best now is still from Vio. Vio offer 120 step.
yeah. In the app, yeah, we can adjust it.
Yes. And the next one, of course, Ibaso. Ibaso and Kain offer 100 step. And some manufacturer offer even up to like just 64 step. But 100 step, 120 is the best from Vio. What I like about Vio is that fine volume. Because to me, you can have the best IEM in the world, the best headphone in the world, but if you cannot get your proper listening level, then you cannot enjoy it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Volume adjustment is very important.
Especially in the Android phones, if you go up,
Yeah,
it's like
that's terrible.
60p or 80p. That's why.
They jump like so high. Yeah.
And what about, I've seen like a lot of DACs in 2025 releases some features like DSP equalizer.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's already happening now with Green Ear.
Yeah.
Green Ear is releasing a dongle as we speak now, which I will feature in my video. And anybody who knows Green Ear Clinical will know that he is a master of EQ, right? So if you love to tweak your sound and everything, it is coming into a dongle in the form of Green Ear, I think what's the name? I forgot.
Protocol Max.
Protocol Max.
Yeah.
And also, I believe we can also get that already with some Fio dongle, which is QX15, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. 17.
QX.
Yeah.
Yeah. QX13. BTR.
Yeah.
Also have.
So yeah. But I think the one that coming from Clinical would be so. I think it's a cool idea, especially if you love to tweak your sound. But the problem with me is that I almost never use EQ. Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter how advanced the EQ is. I'm not gonna touch it. I only use it only when I'm reviewing it. Okay, because in my situation, I always prefer that the coloration comes from the IEM, not from the software side.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I don't like it because my TWS here have a bass boosted EQ. I will openly admit I use EQ
Yeah. For the
on this
Joan
one
machine.
only. On this one only. Because it sounds so amazing with boosted bass.
It has like 2 balance armatures and 1 dynamic.
Yes, it sounds amazing. So how about yourself, Fernanda? What do you carry around with you? People might be interested to know.
Yeah, I'm currently into Kayin RU9 because it is so easy to use. You just tap it behind your phone, and it has 3 different coloration like tube modern, tube classic, and solid state. So I have a different kind of tuning from the amplifier section.
Okay. How about IEM?
IEMs.
Do you consider yourself IEM headphone or?
I'm more into speakers right now.
Ooh. So he's moving
Not-
away
not-
from audio
not the
to portable
kind.
audio.
Not the kind with the like most expensive home audio speaker setup. No, just speakers because I feel like when we review a lot of IEMs and through our stereos, I feel like my ear is kind of tiring.
I know.
Yeah, fatiguing. And then I changed to open back headphones, and it's better actually. But I still have to be stuck through my desk, right? But if I use speakers, I can go to the kitchen and the music's still playing.
Okay.
More healthy.
Perhaps we can actually convince him to use TWS.
Do you use speaker as well at your home?
I have it, but I never use it.
No.
Because I keep on plugging my earphone. I'm so used to it. Just want to use it. I have so many headphones. At the end of the day, I still use IEM.
You still use IM?
Yeah.
Even though you have true wireless earbuds?
Yeah. So because there's some TWS is nice to have.
Yeah.
Sounds is amazing. It is portable, but I still go to these two guys here because they offer the kind of certain, dynamism, which is
Cannot be achieved using wireless earbuds.
I would not say wireless. It's more the wireless technology is already perfect here.
Yeah.
Lossless is lossless, but now we are talking about the implementation of the DAC inside. By the way, you all know how Bluetooth works, right? To the phone. When let's say I attach it to my phone here. So let me just ask this question. If this phone can run music when attached to a Bluetooth TWS, which DAC does it use? Inside, internal, or this one?
Internal.
Which internal? This one or this one?
For internal.
Phone internal.
No.
TWS internal.
Yes.
Yes, you are correct. Because as tiny as it is, can you imagine how small it is? It has a DAC.
Yeah.
Eh? Digital audio converter. This thing will only serve as a transport. Transport means that it only process data to this. Processing happens here. So you can imagine with a very limited space like this, it's no longer about the resolution. It's about the DAC capability. It has certain limitation. Most of the time, what I found is that I don't have enough volume.
Okay, but I have a question. I think a lot of people also wondering about this. Why, when we connect these wireless earbuds to, let's say, an iPhone,
Yep.
and a different Android, it kind of sounds different, a little bit different.
It's depend on the protocol and the efficiency of the Bluetooth chip being used. Sorry to say, I used to be an iPhone user, but I gave up on iPhone year 2021 because it is just simply terrible for audio. Because they have so many limitations called MPI. MPI enforce strict restriction to many things, including power delivery, processing, and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, many manufacturers have to do compromise. And if you do compromise, you cut corners. You cut corners, then you're gonna get something which will not perform optimally. But with Android, there's no limitation. So what I'm trying to say here is that, for example, right, if you connect this to your iPhone now, I can guarantee you're not gonna get 100%. Because iPhone can only do AAC.
ASC.
Huh? They say, hey, how come Andy said HD sounds awesome, but I use AC normal only? Because I use aptX losses here, or at least LDAC. Because AAC is not even, it's like 500 kbps maximum.
200,
260.
260,
Yeah.
256.
If you are talking about audio, which is, let's say, the original audio is 100, let's say 1000 kbps, use AAC. In order to cater for that, it has to downsample and reduce a lot of data to compress it. Okay? And you will hear the compression. How do you know if there's a compression? The dynamics gets thinner.
Yeah.
Eh?
Especially on the high frequency, I think.
Yes. Or some bad recording will sound a bit grainy
Yeah.
on the upper frequency. Then you know that you are losing some resolution. But if you use the same song using LDAC, which is 990 kbps by the way, or even aptX lossless, then you are practically hearing it as it is. Especially if you're streaming from Tidal. Tidal usually hovers at around 600 kbps to 1000 kbps. So no problem, use this. But of course, I go to this when I push for maximum resolution, because this thing push 1 bit DSD. 1 bit DSD is a different planet altogether. Yeah? Because that kind of DSD file is like, wow. You know, the kind of sound which, how come there's a sound which I never heard before? That kind of thing.
What about the Type-C connection right now? Because I often sometimes get questions, people using double DACs
Yeah.
with, let's say, Samsung using Exynos or MediaTek chip in the phones compared to Snapdragon chip in other Android phones.
Yeah.
They sound little bit different. The MediaTek one has a little bit less power than the Snapdragon.
Yes. You actually have the answer there. It's power.
Power, right?
Yes.
Just
Because let me just put it this way, right? Snapdragon has been in the market for a very long time. So when it comes to USB Type-C, if you're connecting to a DAC, especially DAC without battery, okay, they depend 100% on the host to provide power. So the best power is from something like this, which offer USB Type-C PD 3.0. Meaning that not USB 3, but PD 3.0. You get 990 mAh of mAh or something like that. Of the power feed. But if you use an older or even iPhone, you're not gonna get that kind of power. Or so let's say MediaTek have some restriction. It throttle down the power. So some dongle which actually behave better with more power will not sound that good on those devices.
You get the answers, guys. Maybe we should ask the audience if they want to ask something about it.
Anybody have any question?
Ada hadiahnya.
Sudah.
Apa?
Sesi tanya aja.
No, please, we ask questions first.
Good afternoon, sir. Selamat sore, Mas Nanda. Pertanyaan saya, how did you two find your current setup and at what point the setup is? I think this is enough.
I think from my perspective and point of view, I think around 1 million dongle DAC is already very good. From Akriam, Vio, Shanling, Onyx, and I think 1 million Indonesian rupiah is already very good. And to be very objective with it, I brought all of my dongles. I go to my fellow audio engineers and musicians. They don't really care about DACs actually, because they are more into the input of the recording, regardless of the output. So I think 1 million is really good, and I really like what Kayin is already doing with the MagSafe. So I want to see DACs with a MagSafe. Maybe can also be acting like power bank as well, and then can be used with Bluetooth and cable as well.
So that's your.
It's my preference actually. What about?
And I think it's kind of a bit tricky question, but I know how to best to answer this. Meaning that how do you know where to stop basically, right? When are you satisfied? The answer is, honest answer, you will never be satisfied. But accepting the fact is one thing, that you will never be happy. But you need to put practical limit. Okay, otherwise you'll be chasing for the star. And it will never end. So in my case, I put a limit. For my own personal usage, I ask myself a question, what do I like? At the end of the day, I keep on reminding myself, I'm doing this because I love my music. Not because I love my IEM, not because I love my DAP. Right? Whichever IEM or DAP which sounds the best for my music, that is what I'm gonna use. Even if the IEM is made of biscuit or tempeh, if it sounds good, I will use it. Regardless of price. But of course, tempeh probably like cost 50,000. So you get the idea, right? So my okay, to put into perfect, I agree with him. You can only get away with really good setup at around 1 million. Was it 1 million?
1 million rupiah.
Rupiah, yeah. Not dollar, I keep on reminding myself it's million. Okay. So 1 million rupiah can get you really good setup already. And just don't worry about what other people have, because the key thing is that it's your ear. Whatever that you're hearing, he cannot hear. Right? You can pass your IEM to him. Oh, this is my favorite, man. what the hell? This sounds like shit. You see my point? So do not put this kind of wanting to chase unicorn. You need to understand your own taste, your preference. What do you like? Because the only thing that matters is what you hear and your pocket. Okay? Come to the point, okay, am I happy with this sound? Does this sounds, makes me smile? Is it immersive? You stop. No, enough. Just whenever somebody talk in the forum, say, oh, this is good, la 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 la. No. That's how you put a limit. So for myself, of course, being a reviewer is different. But if I were to use things personally, of course, I have many IMs which cost all the way to 3,000 US dollar. But I always found myself to be liking. Of course, I think probably many of you like Sivga Nightingale, which I use, which is like 200 US dollar. Or even let's say Venture Electronic Devastator, which is a 20 US dollar dongle. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. It doesn't mean that I have to switch to something else because it's nice to have all these things, but the idea is that know your preference, know your limit. Simple as that. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Next question.
Thank you. The technology is very fast these days, so let's see to the future. Is Bluetooth will kill wired one? What do you think?
You first.
No, I don't think so. No. But people want one answer actually, but they never really get what they really need because there always be another audience who is willing to use wireless using Bluetooth or even 2.4 GHz connection for gaming or something like that. So there will be audience for wired as well as for wireless. For my convenience, sometimes during traveling I use Bluetooth headphones and it's no problem as long as I can enjoy my music. That'll be
It will not kill the wired thing because simple fact is that, like you said, it depends on your need. Because if you're pushing for DSD, right, 1 bit, I don't think there's any technology, wireless or not, right now that can actually handle DSD kind of transmission rate, which is literally like crazy high. So we can be rest assured that wired will still be there because there are people who need it. Not because they don't like wireless, but because whatever that they have require wired connection.
Okay, next.
Hello, my name is Rangga. I am I have question for Fernanda Gunsan. How do you view the growth of local audio brands compared to international ones like Moondrop or Vio? Thank you.
local audio brands.
Yes.
Local audio brands like Seven Acoustics, and then what do we have again? Avara. Yeah, Avara. Okay. The only when I try to find out about the local IEMs in Indonesia, they are not really. They're still boutique at that time, not really well produced, as massive as the sci-fi industry. So when I tried Seven Acoustic in I guess 2020 or 2021, I think they are the most coherent one compared to Avara. So they're really good. I've tried them all from the Stargazer, I think Stargazer and then Supernova. Not my preference of tuning, but they have their own audience, especially above 5 million Indonesian rupiahs. And then Korean I actually already reviewed it as well. But some of the tuning is not my preference. But if you want to compete in Indonesia, the local brand, they need to start, I think, around 10 million and below, because Indonesians audience, maybe if you want to target more, if you want to achieve more audience, you need to be around 10 millions and below. So they're good. They are highly coherent, even compared to Avara, which I think does need to compete more with Seven Acoustic. But in order to compete with like Moondrop, who sells around $30 something, it's really difficult because they're really massive. They have good customer service as well. I think in Indonesia with Itium and CSI. So that'll be all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fernanda Gunsan.
Thank you.
Okay, hello, my name is Revy Dispira. I want to ask for you both, Mr. Fernanda and Mr. Andi. I want to ask two things. Since some gamers, especially either on PC or mobile version, some of them are looking for dongle DACs, especially due to relatively cheap. Uh, is that still relevant to gamers? Since because most of the time DAC dongles are being used for audio, but not many aware it can be used to gain advantage for some games. Yeah, especially that using audio cues or imaging that you can feel the position of enemy. What do you think about it? And the second is regardless of polarization of ducks, you still can recommend the every single duck dongle for gamers who are looking for extra advantage. That's it.
So we already discussed about the performance of the HD 600 becoming more well separated and big has going to be have a bigger soundstage if we properly use a better amp, right? Like what he said. But I think the problem with recommending DACs for gamers, for me actually, the difficulty is that the connectors they use is TRRS, which is a 3.5 jack, and the DACs we use sometimes only support like TRS instead of TRRS because they need the microphone to communicate, whether it is in the Discord or inside the game. But I agree if we use better DACs, better amps for headphones or maybe harder to drive open back headphones like HD 600, it will have a better impact in the spatial imaging and the sound stage of it. But the difficulty for me, especially for recommending people, is the connectors only because they need the microphone and sometimes they want to add microphone. The only thing that has XLR input for their USB microphone or the XLR microphone, only audio interfaces from pro audio products like Audien, Focusrite or something like that. So the difficulty is there. I think there will be advantage using better DACs in gaming, but the challenge is including the microphone in the chain will be the challenge.
Okay, try to be as simple as possible. Any deck can be a gaming deck, okay? Because most important is the IEM that you use, okay? How good it is natively with imaging and spatial imaging, okay? So meaning because for competitive gaming, I know like something like FPP gaming, you need that kind of positional awareness. But if you are doing another type of gaming, like for example atmosphere gaming like Sun Wukong or everything like that, you don't need that kind of thing. You need something which is more suited for music. Then you get a bit more of immersion factor. And like he mentioned, the limitation for that is that because of that pin, 4-pin TRRS. Not all dongle can support that. So you have to find out if you have your listening device, use this TRRS plug, then sorry to say your choices are very limited. You might even have to consider changing IEM, which you can then connect to any deck, which also that deck must also have microphone support. So it's kind of a bit tricky there, right? Yeah. Happy with that?
Nih. Waduh, terlalu mayoriti di sana malah.
I want to ask, when you guys do reviews for DAC, do you for using you said you use some references like IEM references. How do you pick reference IEM that you use for reference in this big of a market, right? Is it more like a preference, or it has to do with something like technically?
Okay, my approach is a little bit different from Andy. Andy use less colored IEMs like the Etimotic, right? But For me, I look at the audiences and the sellers and the distributors as well. What kind of the most popular IEMs in like under 500K, 1 million or something like that. So I use like even Kinera or Moondrop or anything that most people use. So I can really relate to them what they are what the people are using in Indonesia, and I use that IEM as a preference for this kind of decks. So if, for example, I'm going to review like Snowski Tiny around 300K, I will not be using like Zen Stock Pro like 9 million Indonesian rupiah, right? Because the one who is going to buy the Snowski Tiny is not going to be those kind of audience. It will be in the lower tier IEMs audiences. So I use something like maybe Tangzu 1 or 2 or just Kinara Wi-Fi, so I can relate to them. What are they trying to achieve is using these dongle decks, and how these popular IEMs will sound using these decks. I think that will be my approach.
Yeah, in my case, my reference, how I choose my reference is basically what I mentioned earlier is a baseline, okay, not necessarily a reference, because you have to start somewhere. If you want to say something is bassy, something is, more treble, you need to understand as compared to what. So for my own experience, I start with something which is generally accepted from the industry standard, diffuse fill neutral, before Harman came in, before is considered as neutral standard. So from that point onward, when you start listening to other IEM, then you know how much increase, how much. Then you can actually, I can describe that to my audience saying that, oh, this is very basic, sub-bass extended, not extended. So that is how I use my reference. Doesn't mean that, I'm comparing it, this is correct, this is not correct. No, I stay away from that. Because you have to remember, certain tuning exists to cater for different purposes. Okay? So, and also, when it comes to deck, like I think I already mentioned this, you have to be neutral. That's how I use it. So meaning that that's my why I need to have a baseline, a preference, or what was the word? It's like a reference, right? Reference. That's is it clear? Yeah. Okay.
So, once again, thank you for Fernanda, Gunsan, and Default for the talk show. Now, like, we may take pictures together with the audience, maybe?
No
Yeah,
giveaways,
sure.
no quizzes and giveaways.
You want one? I mean, we'll be doing one after this.
Oh,
They're doing it. They're waiting
Yeah.
for it.
That's the reason we're here.
So let's wrap
No,
this
just like what to
Pictures.
wrap it up because they want to do a giveaway after this.
Yeah.
Let's do after.